resources that they need to work with children. But over the years, I realized that what we were doing in schools wasn't working. And I really felt a need for getting children out in nature. And it wasn't until June of 2022 when I met the illustrator. You can see on screen, these illustrations are watercolors that were put together by Jenny, designed by Jenny Camp, and I met her at a garden party. And after talking to her about my passion and her passion, and what she saw was that Elle Travis and I needed to meet because we had a similar vision. And so it was in July of 2022, a year to date, that I met Elle over tea. And really the rest is just history for us, because after talking, I realized that I didn't need to recreate the wheel with my nonprofit. I just needed to let that go and join what Elle had created with Caregivers of Mother Earth. And so I wrote a plan to Dissolution, Ideas Gateway, Second Resource Center, and now I want to hand it over because this lovely lady, Elle Travis, has a lot to say, and I support all that she does with Caregivers of Mother Earth.
Thanks, Doreen, and welcome everybody. It's very exciting for me to be on Humanity Rising. Working with Doreen, she shared so many of the different episodes, and I know that the work you're doing, having spirit and science coming together, it's a time on the planet for everybody to collaborate and work together. And so I started out thinking from a cosmic perspective, what a hopeful message we have and whose time has come. I don't know how many of you really understand that the Age of Pisces, which is a 2,500-year period, is coming to an end. And during that Age of Pisces, we saw a lot of, patriarchal power over models in every aspect of our world. And so now we're moving into the Age of Aquarius. We've been singing about it since the 60s. It's time for the Age of Aquarius, and we really are getting there. But as we move from the Piscean age to the Aquarian age, we have choice points that we really need to pay attention to. And I think, when you think about the Aquarian age, it is a symbol of technology, but it also is a symbol for collaboration and community. So we have to balance the collaboration and the community with the technology and make sure that the technology is serving the good of society. Because if it's not in balance, it can enslave. And what really got me passionate about starting Caregivers of Mother Earth was the fact that children, these are averages in the United States, may not be the same for your country, but in the US, children ages 5 to 10 are on technology devices 7 hours on average a day versus 4 to 5 minutes outside playing. And those are averages. So you can see that there's no balance. And so, choosing balance is the way that we are going to find healing for one another. And I have written a little book called Pathfinder's Dawn of Understanding. And it really is about finding that balance. And I just wanted to read just a little 30-second promo for the book. It says it's a scientific adventure, sci-fi adventure taking place in the year 2030 about 6 teenagers who are embarking on a sacred journey to learn more about and heal the earth and its delicate ecosystem. Aided by wise mentors well-versed in the world of magic and ecological balance, the teens learn of the fragile web of interconnectivity that binds all life on Earth together. After completing their training and coming of age, they each embark on a journey to use their new powers for good. So from a cosmic perspective, we're moving from power over to a model of collaboration. Now, from a personal level, shifting from dualism to oneness, we're all in this together. We're all connected in the web of life. And as science discovers plasma and realizing that we truly are connected in the web of life, all of the ancient wisdom from Indra's net, it's all coming to be proven by science. Also, with quantum physics, we know that everything has an energy frequency, and energy is neither good nor bad inherently. So as we think about our world today, and we look at people and say, oh, that's good or that's bad, we need to understand that as we look at one, we really need to focus more on self-love and self-care, because the only way to wholeness is to call in all the bits of our self, the shadow and the light. And I love this little, I guess, picture of doing that. I read a book a couple weeks ago by Harriet Rosetto called Sacred Housekeeping. And in that book, she said, it's like inviting your shadow bits to tea and loving them as you would a friend. So loving the dark and the light, because we all have a shadow and a light. And when we embrace ourselves in wholeness, we know that we are enough just the way we are. So I want to take it now into the story of how Caregivers of Mother Earth started. I was inspired to write little nature stories for children, and they happened to fall into 4 different books, going from spring, summer, fall, and into winter. And I wrote these stories and got them published between April of 2020 and February of 2022. In the stories, we see an inspirational fairy, and her name is Lightfeather. She hides in pictures and she changes colors with the seasons. So you can probably see her hiding up here in the tree. And the inspirational part at the end of each story, there's like 3 or 4 stories in each season. And at the end of each story, it says, did you find me hiding in 3 places? Always remember, boys and girls, you are our hope for the future. And this encouragement is so important right now as we work to connect children to nature, because it has to be fun. It has to be educational. And so within the stories, as the fairy hides, you see her up here on a branch, you realize that children need some encouragement to get out into nature. And so at the beginning of each story, Lightfeather gives a little tidbit of education. And for example, in this story, she's saying, did you know that before your moms and dads had the internet on computers, that trees and shrubs have been doing this long before humans figured it out? And so we're talking about the underground network of roots and fungi that connect all of the trees together. So we have fun, we have education, we also have social and emotional learning within each book. Each season has a different emotion. As we work through the seasons, this particular story is from winter, and it's focused on the emotion of fear, as Sunny Bear was afraid of his shadow. But as Mother said, Sunny, you don't need to be afraid of your shadow, it's part of you. And as you name it and face it and go through it, you'll be just fine. So each story has a lot to do with social and emotional learning, and each season focuses on an emotion. So I had written all of the stories, I thought, but then I woke up one night and I had this dream that there was one more story yet to come. And it was a premonition story. So I got up and I wrote the story, and it was called Caregivers of Mother Earth. And it came into the middle of the book. So at the last story for summer, was Caregivers of Mother Earth. And what happened was that the Cherokee Nation, the two twins had a dream that said that the earth was going to go into neglect and that the children were going to come along and wake up from the spell that was cast upon the earth, and they would become caregivers of Mother Earth. They would awaken their families to what truly mattered. And as you see here, Mother Earth holding a child, the children began feeling a deep connection, and as they feel that connection, they heal themselves and Mother Earth. And I think this is an important point, is that as we saw early on in the pandemic, when the humans stopped, Mother Earth came back into balance very, very quickly. The smog was lifted. We could see the mountains in Tibet. We could see the mountains in California over Hollywood. The waters became clearer, and all this happened very quickly. So in this story, it turns out that the children are going to save the day and become caregivers of Mother Earth. And that is when I knew that I had to start a nonprofit called Caregivers of Mother Earth. And we're founded on 3 missions: to connect children with nature, to live sustainably for the planet, and to build parent and child relationships. And so through the mission of Caregivers of Mother Earth, we got started. Early days were in March of 2022, when I received the 501c3 approval from the IRS. And then we began fundraising in May of 22. That summer, I was able to work with 80 children at 4 farm and nature camps. And also, we had a community celebration where we dedicated a park bench here in Hendersonville for Caregivers of Mother Earth. And at that celebration, we acknowledged the children that had become the initial Caregivers of Mother Earth in Hendersonville, North Carolina. So we went to the city. As you can see, the mayor is doing the ribbon cutting here. We went to the city. We talked to them about Hendersonville becoming the cornerstone Caregivers of Mother Earth city, which they unanimously voted on to become that first city. So I wanted to share, as we were evolving, we started working with boys and girls clubs. And we have a garden that's in pretty bad shape, but the Boys and Girls Club were able to use that garden and produce some pretty amazing results. And what I wanted to share with you is how a garden changes lives. You'll see just a very short video in just a minute, but what was the surprise to everybody was that the kids learned the skills of gardening. They learned how to cook some of the food that they had grown, but all of the wonder that came out of it was the healing that took place from the garden. These young people, the youth, they came out and they said, we found a quiet spot. We were anxious, we were depressed, and now we have found a peaceful place out in nature. So I want to share this little video with you. Has some music behind it, might be a little loud. All right, so if that didn't get your toes tapping, nothing will. Those kids, they came out of the garden to table project with a new lease on life. And with that, we went to the city. The city is like, yes, you're onto something here, Elle. We do need to connect children with nature. And as the first community to become a caregiver city, we've really started some amazing things. I want to turn it back over to Doreen to talk about the other gardens that we've worked with the Boys and Girls Clubs in other cities, and let her share what we're doing from an educational enrichment perspective.
Well, as a special educator, I was aware of research that had been done on preschoolers and nursing home residents and the benefits to both. And my mother, I came back to the West Coast, my husband, I came back to the West Coast here and was in assisted living at the Woodlands retirement community. And I was visiting her daily at that time and also working with caregivers. And the Woodlands retirement community is on the Furman campus area, and it's located within Travelers Rest, the city of Travelers Rest. And one thing led to another for my going over there and being a part of that community and seeing and talking to the people in assisted living and in the regular retirement community of active participants. And I realized there's a wealth of talent there that could be put to use. And we happened to have a intern from Furman University, Hannah Farr at the time. And one thing led to another again. And we decided that why don't we try to put together a multi-generational program with Furman University, the Woodlands Retirement, the Salvation Army Boys and Girls Club, and A.J. Wittenberg Elementary School, which is all located within a short range of one another. And so at that time, Elle started the project, and it's been a go ever since. And as you can see with the pictures, these are children from the A.J. Wittenberg Elementary School, which is an engineering elementary school in Greenville, South Carolina. And they're planting their vegetables in a high raised bed garden. There are 8 of them there, and we're working with an afternoon school program of the children wanting to participate in learning about gardening. Now, the recipe for success that got created was the ECO recipe. And it's the environmental education enrichment, which under that educational enrichment comes the regenerative garden practices and the social emotional learning, the collaborative partnership for sustainability, because as you can see that this is on a campus where just across the way is the A.J. Wittenberg is on one end of the campus, and on the other end is the Kroc Center where the Boys and Girls Club is located. So it's not far, it's just in walking distance. And so we did a collaborative venture for sustaining this garden because it had been in existence, but it was not sustainable year round. And there wasn't enough participation at the time at A.J. Wittenberg. It was a side program from a parent that really started that program, Jessica Moss, who has 2 children at A.J. Wittenberg. And she kept trying to get this garden going and having the school participate full round. full year round. And so we started the collaboration, and we opened the community for support, for sponsorship, fundraising, and giving back. The eco part of the for the kids was, for them, the ECO stands for explore, connect, and observe. And that's the focus that we're bringing to the afternoon program. Now, this is the finish up of AJ's Wittenberg school year. And this young man, Gideon, is presenting a vision board that we put together in the afternoon program. And I'm going to let Gideon say what he has to say about the ocean.
The little sea right there in my hair. How to save the sea animals. Help by contacting Team Seas, which is basically an organization that helps clean up the ocean and like lakes. Don't litter at the beach or basically anywhere else, because you don't want to do that. That will ruin the environment. And pick up the trash from the ocean. If you like see it, like a bottle, like if you have a glove with you, you just pick it up, or if you have like a paper towel, pick it up and just throw it in the trash. And keep the waters clean. That's basically how you do it.
Thank you, Gideon.
The vision board presentation demonstrates the curriculum of exploring, connecting, and observing. This was done, again, I said, at the end of the year, and we were having a celebration where we invited the boys and girls from the Boys and Girls Club to come over. And we had a symbolic change, a key to the garden that was given to the Boys and Girls Club. So AJ Wittenberg students were showing their vision boards that demonstrated what they either wanted to focus on the planet, or what they felt like an eco kid could do on the planet. And you can see at the end of the presentation, the children got certificates. You can see them on the table there in a bag from Caregivers. And the key was sent over to the Boys and Girls Club. And now let's move to the Boys and Girls Club. At the Boys and Girls Club, you'll hear from Kim Loudon, the educational director there, who works with all the children, and she's a seasoned provider, believe me. And she has a lot to say about what's happening in their new summer garden program.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Loudon with the Boys and Girls Club here in Greenville, South Carolina. We just want to thank for the opportunity for Caregivers of Mother Earth to bring the Eco Kids together, along with Boys and Girls Club and AJ Wittenberg. AJ Wittenberg took the opportunity on during the school year, and Boys and Girls Club are picking up the project during the summer. We have a garden club here at the Boys and Girls Club with roughly around 24 kids. It's been a great opportunity. Sometimes some of this is the kids' first opportunity within a garden, so it has been very, very good for them and a great experience. So far, they have planted sweet potatoes. They got to taste a sweet potato to see what it looked like before it's even put into the ground, how you can cook it. They were able to taste it. They are also able to taste the fresh veggies and herbs that AJ grown during the school year to harvest, for they are able to pull them out, and it's just been a great experience. And again, we thank Caregivers of Mother Earth for the opportunity.
And you can see they're planting the sweet potatoes now. And this program, the summer program, is going to be finished in August, around August 2nd. And but the children will come back, because we're going to build a bridge at the end of the summer when school starts. AJ Wittenberg will hand the key back. However, we got a little hiccup in this handing the key back, because the boys and girls are loving it, over the summer, and it looks like the manager of the program, Brian, would like to consider extending it year round. Now we have buy-in for everybody with those 8 raised beds, and now we're looking at divvying it or extending the garden because the children are thrilled with the gardening programs in both groups.
I just want to add just a little bit to what Doreen was saying. When we first started the after-school program with A.J. Wittenberg, it was a pilot program, and the principal of the school basically came in and said the 4th and 5th graders were going to be doing this. And you should have heard the moans and groans. They were like, garden club, who wants to do that? We've got our tablets here. We want to stay on, play our games. But they came out and they were good sports about it. And after 7 weeks, I said, you know, next week is our last week. And they went, no, we love garden club. And so I wanted to share that tidbit because a lot of times kids don't know what they don't know. And when you get them out in nature and they start tasting herbs in the garden or eating a green bean right off of a plant, they're like, wow. And so I just want to acknowledge the fact that it's really important to get kids out into nature. They don't know what they're missing. So next, I'm going to go back to one of the programs that we have with Caregivers of Mother Earth. I mentioned that Hendersonville became the cornerstone city for caregivers. And this year we've worked with the a committee called Hendo Earth Fest. We had our very first celebration of Earth Day, and we were a big part of making sure that that happened. We're also attending different sustainability meetings and working with the sustainability manager for the city. We're working with Bee City and Tree City, and we have put together a grant that we just found out in early June that the city was the recipient of a $25,000 grant to revitalize the 7th Avenue Garden. That's the garden that's across from the Boys and Girls Club, where I was telling you about the program that they had last summer. So it's very exciting because the garden really does need to be revitalized with new beds and just all new to just make it great for the community. So I want to turn it back over to Doreen to talk about Garden Jubilee, which is another festival that the city puts on, and Caregivers of Mother Earth was invited to give a presentation. We had a panel, and I'll let Doreen tell you about this young man.
Now I'm filming this, but to your very left is Luke, a permacultural expert, and behind next to him is Jane Goodwin, and she is a master gardener.
Jane Grossman.
Grossman, excuse me. And Ellie is standing ready to speak, but want you to hear Kay Brown's, which I mean, he really put it out there, and I think you can all feel the message for the Garden Jubilee, that a garden is more than fruits and vegetables. Okay, Tay.
So when they asked me to speak today, I'm kind of a guy full of cliches. There were 3 points I wanted to hit on about our Hendersonville Community Garden, the 7th Avenue Community Garden. There's lots of great things happening around there. But when I had the personal opportunity to participate and volunteer several times out of last year, there were 3 things that just I kept thinking about that were growing, cultivating, prospering, being planted when working in the garden. And for me, that was community, that was healing. And can someone guess the third? History. This garden, this neighborhood is full of history, from the communities to the Boys and Girls Club, to the park that's located across the street, to the Brooklyn Stream that's now being renamed, that's now being redone. And so being a part of this history and trying to justify it, trying to memorialize it in a way that's truly just and fair to all parties was one of the things that I kept thinking about over and over again. How can I justly put this history into paper so that way when folks see it, they can take part of it as well too? never in my life would I have thought community gardening to be such a healing phenomenon. When I step into the garden, whether it be a community garden, whether it be my own house garden, or whether it be just out in the field, I truly feel transformed, as though I'm lifted up from this space and planted somewhere else. It's just me, my hands, and Mother Earth. I can feel my heartbeat slow down. I can feel those deep doctor's breaths starting to be taken. I can feel my blood pressure begin to lower. And it truly is a therapeutic technique just to do. And that's one of the things that I hope to see out of this community garden, is just to see it heal the community more and more, to really memorialize that history that's in that community, and just to see it grow from activities that can be done with community members, grow with the public school systems that are looking for more opportunities to work within the community and get children out and about in nature. And so I've just been really fortunate and really blessed to be a part of this initiative, and I'm excited to see all the great things to come from this community garden.
So as you can tell, he is quite an inspirational young man. He's recently graduated from the university, and he's back in the community working with children and child resources in the community. And he will be a wonderful, wonderful asset as we revitalize the 7th Avenue Garden.
So when they asked me to speak,
I'm sorry.
When they asked me to speak, I'm kind of a guy full of cliches. There were three points I wanted.
How do I get this? Okay, here we go. I'm sorry, a little technical problem on my part. I wanted to take us actually to the garden. This was just a couple days ago. This is Ronnie Pepper, and he is the head of the Black History Research Group nonprofit in this community called Green Meadows. It is a well-established community in Hendersonville. This garden is located on city property. It's across from Sullivan Park, and we are now on our way to revitalize the garden. So take it away, Ronnie.
Here we are with Ronnie Pepper down at the 7th Avenue Community Garden, going to be known as Brooklyn Gardens going forward. Hi, Ronnie.
Hello, how you doing, Ellen?
Good.
Good to see you. It's good to see all our friends out there in, what'd you call that? Video world. We're down here at the 7th Avenue Garden at the demo stage. And right now we're having to pull up all the old beds because our goal is to get all of this taken out so we can get new beds in and planted. So that way we can get to the growing season, okay? So anytime that y'all can come by and offer your help, either with your muscles of your arms or your muscles from your pocketbook, feel free to do that, okay? Anything will help, $1, $5, $20, it don't matter, because we just want to get it all done. And it's gonna be fun, and it's gonna be good for the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ronnie.
All right.
So as you can tell, he's a very outgoing leader, and we're so excited to have Ronnie working with us on the 7th Avenue Garden. I wanted to kind of close out this section and then turn it over to Doreen for a part of Caregivers where we're still dreaming big. So I wanted to kind of head it up and say, you're never too young, you're never too old to dream big. And come dream with us as we expand our horizons. We're tackling food insecurity. We're teaching children about healthy food choices and social emotional learning, and connecting people in a garden and building bridges for a better world as we help humanity rise. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Doreen to share her or our big dream.
The dreaming card already started huge umbrella for the is be able to support teachers, parents, caregivers, grandparents, will be able to tap to a digital platform where they can be inspired themselves in helping children to get out.
Ellen and Doreen, I think your sound is a bit off, so you're sort of lagging a bit.
Oh, okay.
But it may be Wi-Fi, and also just kindly when you show these amazing videos, if you have the possibility, I don't know if it's your end or Reggie's end, to just put up the volume, because we can't always hear everything clearly. But let's start with your sound. Does it look like your Wi-Fi is steady?
Looking like it's steady here.
Now it sounds good. Now it sounds good. So let's go. Now it sounds
Okay,
good.
I probably wasn't right using. I
Yes.
wasn't in the middle. Okay. Now we'll step into the realm of digital learning. Picture a powerful, inspiring digital platform that effortlessly delivers our educational resources. A platform that nurtures growth and comprehensive lesson plans catering to learners from infancy through high school. But right now, we have the need for the lesson plans that will take into consideration kindergartners through 5th grade. That's what we're focusing on right now, because that's what's blossomed with Caregivers, is that we're working with the elementary schools, and we're working with the Boys and Girls Clubs and the 4-H clubs. But technically, we'll go from infancy through high school. And we're looking, of course, for an SEO, a search engine, to optimize the website. And now in our curriculum platform that's being written, we are looking, our digital library will go deeper and reveal the magic of Mother Earth, exploring the interconnected cycles, sustainability, social emotional growth, and gardening. It's just opening our eyes to the beauty of nature and learning to protect it that we want to give to children and enrich their experience of being outside. Okay. Let's see, next. Along with that, every season brings new opportunities. So our curriculum will have seasonal rhythms and diverse habitats. Our curriculum breathes with the rhythm of the seasons, and we'll discover the vegetation regions across the globe, understanding their unique characteristics and their vital roles in our ecosystem. So we'll offer dynamic learning experiences that reflect the planet's natural shift and expose our learners to diverse habitats. And also we will celebrate the wonder. And we want our curriculum to do that. We want to share where innovation meets nature, and we want to demonstrate protecting our homes. So our subjects are designed to ignite curiosity, inspire action, from celebrating the wonders of Mother Earth to exploring nature's inspired innovations. And I just love Jenny's watercolors. We definitely want to embrace our indigenous wisdom and incorporating it is our wisdom, the wisdom in our mission. We learn from rich traditions, values, and principles such as reciprocity with all living beings, humility, respect, and honoring the wisdom of our elders. Our indigenous elders emphasized that we must first create within ourselves what we wish to see in the world, and that is one of our focuses. We want to bring mindfulness to children, listening capabilities, so that they're so distracted. Not all, but many are distracted, and being able to tune in to silence and quietness so they can hear and communicate with nature. And a couple of indigenous people that we worked with on Humanity Rising that inspired me was Alarian Caliph emphasized the importance, and Elizabeth Satoris emphasized the importance of communing with nature. Such practices common in our indigenous cultures have profound implications. So let's reflect on them and give thanks, and we bring that as a mission with Caregivers of Mother Earth. Now, what we would like to wrap in order to wrap up the presentation, definitely want to revisit Caregivers Mother Earth was not just teaching children about the environment. We're nurturing a generation of empathetic consciousness and proactive stewards of our precious Earth. And we would like to put it out to Humanity Rising's audience to invite all educators and storytellers, nature enthusiasts, artists, musicians, poets, and anyone passionate about the principles discussed here to join us in our mission. And as you can see, you can contact me, Doreen, D-O-R-E-E-N, at Caregivers, one word, of motherearth.org, with questions, ideas, or however you want to play for your community. And because what we want to do is share this with the globe. And as Caregivers, a gift from the Chief Fairy Godmother, I've listed a couple of gifts here, and we're going to put that on the chat. They're listed here, but we'll make a copy of it and put it in the chat so that you can see your gifts from Caregivers. And I suggest, as the Chief Fairy Godmother, that you open them in order from 1 to 4.
All right, so thank you, Doreen. We love the big dream of the vision of the digital platform and all that it can hold for teachers and children all over the world. But right now, let's come back to what we do have, and we do have a scalable model that is available to communities all over the globe, and that is to become a caregiver of Mother Earth City. And we basically say it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. And what we've started, we have our second caregiver city in Travelers Rest, and they are starting their program with a Bring Back the Monarch. The monarch butterfly can only lay its eggs on milkweed, and so we are focused on planting some milkweed and helping the monarchs. Their populations over the past 20 years have dropped by 90. And if we don't do something to bring them back in the next 10 years, they'll basically be quasi-extinct. So that's a big focus, is to bring back the monarch butterfly here in Travelers Rest. Our second year, we want to focus on pollinator gardens to help save the bees. And the third year, they're going to really focus on community growth, finding unity in community with community gardens. So if you're in touch with representatives from your community, or you'd like to start a grassroots movement in your community, you can go to our website. You can find out more about how to get started, and I will be more than happy to communicate with you and get your community started as a caregiver city. Thank you so much for your time today and listening to us. I hope the audio wasn't too bad on some of the videos, because they were really good messages. But we do appreciate your support, and we appreciate the opportunity to come on today and dream with you. As I mentioned from the start, we're just a little over a year old, and we are dreaming big. We do want to see growth happen, connecting children with nature. It is a very important time to bring people together, come together in the garden for our children. And I will turn it back over to Sabina and say, see you in the after chat room.
Wow. First of all, Elle and Doreen, I mean, thank you for so much that you've accomplished in just 1 year. And also in this presentation of, let's say it's within 40 minutes, we've really seen tangible ways of how we can not only contribute to sustainability, contribute to the good of our earth, but also educate, incentivize, and really engage our children. And I mean, what a gift and what a lot of labor of love that has been put into this. And I love when you ended, with the sort of caregiver city, the caregiver of Mother Earth cities, that we can really scale this opportunity. So what you're doing in your end, each city, each community could actually scale this and implement this using, whatever you said. It could be caretakers of bees, or it can be the monarch, but, finding what is specifically needed in that area and make this happen. So, I mean, really applaudable. And the digital library and the digital platform, I presume the next step is to find a collaborator, sponsor, or partner for this digital platform, which I'm sure I'm going to start to rotate in my mind, because I'm also in the digital world, and I'm sure there are many who would like to be part of this, because you do also have, it's a business case in that sense, even though it's an NGO. And it's so touching also to see the way both of you, through the videos that we saw, like you said, initially, children don't know what they don't know. Well, the same with grown-ups. We don't know what we don't know, but giving them the opportunity to really experience something that they then want to thrive in.
Yeah.
Is that sort of one of the biggest insights, or what else do you take away from all of this just after a year of seeing, the progress so far?
For me, it really is that the children have no idea what they're missing. And when they get out and they see the bugs and they're planting, they don't know how their food is grown, and they certainly don't know what good food tastes like until they're out in the garden and they're tasting it. So it's this whole sense of wonderment that children need to rediscover when they're out in nature. And so having them do nature journals, understand how to be quiet and listen, it calms them down. Things that we wouldn't expect for children, to have anxiety and depression and things like that. Being out in the garden, they're just playing, they're just being children. And for me, that is so important. And with that connection to nature, I know from my own perspective, I have fond memories of my childhood, and I want children today to have that same connection to nature going forward, because they are faced with big, I call them opportunities, but they are issues with global warming and things like that. And when we present these issues to the children, oftentimes they are like, I'm overwhelmed, I don't know what to do. And so we spend time with them and we say, the solutions are very simple. Planting trees to capture the carbon into the earth. The solutions are individual within your community, planting gardens. And so it gives these children a sense of they can make a difference and they can be hopeful. And so that's what I'm finding, is that we're really opening their eyes to how important it is to be connected with nature and heal their bodies. Yeah.
Mm. In such a beautiful way, in such an organic way. And it also, that there are so many solutions. It's just that we haven't always been navigated to touch upon those solutions. And a lot of the time, incentives like this, you just wish that this had been in the educational curriculum from get-go, when we were at the age of 5 and 6. I mean, then we would have this more innately, which we do, but it's not been awakened. And but let's be positive and say now it's actually coming. So the generation that is here now, whether they're very tech savvy and digitally native, we can offer them the contrast of giving them the possibility to reconnect, because they're so digital that they actually enjoy the experience more, and maybe want to do a lot about it. So all this labor of work that you and so many others that I come across both in Humanity Rising and all over the world, there's so many amazing initiatives around the world that are really creating a positive impact and catapulting us forward to sustainability, to regenerating the earth. And that's why this is one platform to shed light, but that's sort of the next step of really building bridges, also collecting your knowledge and building a bridge to another organization so that it can be this collaborative interweavement, and it can scale. So, and I loved, I can't remember his name, but when you showed the film of the revitalization of the 7th Avenue, when this spokesperson,
Ronnie.
yeah, and he said, like, gardening, what a healing phenomenon.
Yes.
It's like, wow, what a gift. I just want to see, because I had a few in the chat who, I had one who, Kurt Kruger in the chat, who said, your wonderful ways for our youth could be used. Here's a collaborative incentive in collaboration with Los Angeles Unified SD's Climate Curricula Committee that is designing K-12 for all subjects. So let's connect you with Kurt. You can probably connect in the chat, but if you don't connect, then please, let me know, because I'll connect you, because all of these collaborative nodes is what is needed. So that was one. And then Stan, who our beloved Stan, who helps us with the after chat and who's helping us technically here as well. He wrote that, did you know that the American community, do you know of the American Community Garden Association? It's a national group that my wife has been associated with for 30 years. And his wife's name is Sally McCabe. Is that the same Stan? So why don't you reach out to Stan as well and see if that can give you something. And then let's see, was there any more questions from? Well, I found a comment in the chat, and I think this comment touched me, because I think this is also something that we all experience. And that she said, I'm so glad to be here. I've been surrounded a couple of days by people expressing their hopelessness. And they laugh at me when I try to bring other solutions. So I'm so glad to be here. And I think that's also something that is, the beauty of when we come together, when there's a platform, we can come together and people can talk about their initiatives to showcase that there are possibilities, because we all have environments where, there's hopelessness, there's fear, there's reactiveness and so forth. So it's also important to get gatherings where we can actually plant the seeds of hope as well, and action.
Yes, if children are not given the hope, then they just shut down in fear. And we talk about that in terms of, how fear, you have to face it and get through it. But it's so important that children understand it's fun to be out in nature, that nature is a good guide in decision making, and they get quite the education as they're outdoors. So, we want them to have fun, be playful, be children, and definitely come from an attitude of gratitude and not fear. So that's our mission, is definitely one of fun and hope, and let's get out in the garden and let's learn how to grow vegetables. So.
And also your narrative and wordings of, let's initiate and incentivize all storytellers to be part of this story. Yeah. That's also something, for you, I sort of visualize, maybe people who are role models and on a maybe celebrity status, who can, read excerpts of stories that can be connected to caregiving of Mother Earth, and it can, be a sort of narrative that can be shared on a YouTube channel and sort of connecting and so forth. There's just some thoughts that came to mind when you mentioned, incentivize all the storytellers, which I think is a really
natural storyteller that I know that is working daily on Humanity Rising. And Shannon, I want to shout out to you. You're a natural for storytelling, and I know you do it, and I've seen your videos, Shannon MacArthur. You do beautiful work. One of the things I want to just take that dream further and let everyone know that there is a dream for having a global library for Mother Earth where we all can connect, just like Humanity Rising is putting this network together. and it's growing for videos and news and daily, that this is something that is needed and a way to bridge all of us together.
So more to come, more to come. We're in the dreaming stage, but you know, you start with your dream, and this is also in the book, is teaching children through vision boarding. What is your, vision for the future? What are you dreaming about? And then to feel it, and then to take action to bring it to happen. Because like you said, in 16 months, Caregivers of Mother Earth has done quite a bit in our community. We now have a second Caregiver City and Travelers Rest. We have programs that are sustainable in boys and girls clubs. And there's quite a bit more going on that we haven't featured here today, but it's just, it's exciting. And we want more people to join in and collaborate with us. It's a great thing. At the end of the day, I feel like the mother of Caregivers of Mother Earth, but at the same time, this child is going to grow up and it's going to go where it's going to go. So that's important to me.
And just to mention, just again, for those who are listening and viewing, so if you want to donate, because you can donate to the Caregivers of Mother Earth, if you want to be part of the so-called blueprint of the Caregivers of Mother Earth City, where you can put this in your own community, where do these persons turn to?
Our website, yes, we have a website, and it's caregiversofmotherearth.org.
So again, caregiversofmotherearth.org, for those of you who are not in the chat, because we put it there earlier. Donations, or if you also want to incentivize this kind of community work and addressing kids and connecting them to nature, reach out. You already have the blueprint, it's just to implement it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like what Ronnie said about the garden and donations for the garden. $5, $10, $20, no amount is too small, as we are just getting started. So any donations are greatly appreciated. And of course, taking the programs to your city and getting involved in your own community, happy to work with you individually and make that happen as well. And I know Doreen is very excited about the communities that she's networking with the digital library.
And also for the digital library, I mean, there's always, you can go out and create crowdfunding as well, because people want to be engaged. So that's also a sort of a way to get people to engage and also to fund, to donate. Well, Doreen and Elle, thank you so much for everything that you're doing, for being these amazing trailblazing caregivers of Mother Earth, and for really creating ripple effects that you're doing. And I do hope that this will create additional ripple effects, and you get people who want to, I mean, I'm already in my own mind thinking about it, who want to also create caregiver Mother Earth cities, because there's so much that we can do, and it can also be enjoyable, healing, and transformational, like we heard. So thank you so much for everything, and the best of luck going forward. And I just want to mention to all of our viewers that, of course, we'll be back on Monday. We're back next week, broadcasting between 5 and 6:30 CET. So do join us then on Monday. We have a really interesting topic. It's the 12 mindsets for the thriving in the 21st century. So with us then, we're going to have a renowned Australian futurist speaker and strategist and author, and also a soil and plant scientist. So we actually knows a bit what he's talking about, not just in a future perspective. Peter Elliard, who will, in his latest book, is describing how we can actually adapt and thrive in the 21st century, and what long-term trends and outlines and knowledge and values that we can embed in ourselves to enable us to thrive in humanity's emerging global 21st century village, because we're all in the same village. And as I said before, there is no plan B, as you can see on my t-shirt, and that is really true. But I think what I take with me from this session was also a quote that Doreen and Elle had in their presentation that we all should remember: you are never too young or too old to dream big. So let's do that. Have a beautiful weekend, and hope to see you next week. And thank you for watching Humanity Rising.